My piece is entitled Touchtone Thespian. I arrived in Hollywood in the fall. This is fantastic. I'll just pause after every sentence. I was 21 with huge dreams and ambitions. The moment I stepped foot on Hollywood soil, Betty Davis died. Naively, I took that as a sign. One diva down, another one swept in her place. I did the usual actor things. I took extremely expensive headshots that looked nothing like me. I faked a resume and rented an apartment behind Rock and Roll Ralph's. I spent hours perusing the aisles of Samuel French Bookshop. And I sent out hundreds of pics and resumes to agencies looking for my type. I read Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and Backstage West. I was multi-talented with a sparkling personality. I was gonna be a star. Looking in the back of one of the rags, I saw an ad that read, "Actors Wanted." Wow, I thought. How simple. How easy is this? What's all the fuss about? Everyone trying to make it in this town. When right here, in the back of the paper, they're looking for actors. I called the number, and a woman answered, "LA Heat, how may I help you?" She sounded like my grandmother. I told her that I was interested in the acting position. She asked me if I had any characters in my repertoire. I told her that I had several characters that I had been working on for an improv class. She then explained to me that the way the audition process worked was I needed to use these characters and talk into a tape recorder, bring the tape to her office, and she will decide. I was a little confused. Was this for voiceover work? Why would I audition on a tape? I asked her if there was any particular monologue she wanted to hear from me because I had done David Rabe. I was really good at Christopher Durang. The lady interrupted me and asked if I was aware that the job was for phone acting. Phone acting, I thought. What the hell was that? I had my degree from Temple University. I was able to do comedy, Shakespeare, you name it. How hard could phone acting be? Still perplexed, I asked her to define phone acting. Bluntly, she said, "We're talking about phone sex here." "Yes," she said, "our clients are gay men and they call our office and ask for specific types. Calls are to be no longer than 30 minutes and you get paid $15 a call. If a client requests you, you get $30 a call. It's all done out of your home and every 2 weeks we send you a check. Interested?" I did the math. I figured I could do 10 calls a day, a couple of days a week, leaving me free for auditions and pretty much be my own boss. "I'm interested," I said. Since I didn't know the first thing about phone acting or how to talk dirty, I headed to Circus of Books, the local bookstore that I used to pass on my drive around West Hollywood. I walked in and innocently asked the clerk for the literature section. He asked me if I meant erotica, and I stupidly said, "Yes, that's exactly what I mean." I picked up a few books and nervously paid for them and headed home. My hands were shaking as I took the cassette and popped it into the recorder. It was the 90s. And I began creating my characters. Zach. Zach was tall, dark, and handsome. He had a hairy chest, and he was always horny. Dimitri. Dimitri was of Middle Eastern descent. He had a heavy accent and a gravelly voice from smoking too much. Tyrone. Tyrone was African American with a big dick, naturally. And last but not least, Taylor. Taylor was a twink surfer dude from the valley who had a constant heart-on. I read several stories into the mic and decided that this was going to happen for me. I'm gonna take you right here and now. I'm going to rub my throbbing member against your moist wetness. And then I am going to have you into fits of ecstasy, and the two of us will be writhing around naked on the king-size bed. I was going to get this job. The casting office was in a seedy apartment complex on the east side of Hollywood. I rang the buzzer. I was excited to meet the lady that I'd been speaking to for so long, and was astonished to see a 400-pound, raging homosexual answer the door. "Hello, cherub," he said. "You must be Teddy." I freaked out. The lady that I'd been speaking to the whole time turned out to be this big fat queen. "I'm Buddy. Come on in." Nervously, I entered Buddy's apartment. "Did you bring your tape?" he said. "Let me take a listen." Right now, I thought. You're going to listen to my dirty tape right now in front of me? But I didn't say anything. I kept it cool. You know, I was in Hollywood right now. Buddy put the tape into the tape player and then pressed play. I blushed as I listened to myself talking filthy as Buddy paced back and forth in front of me with a tape player pressed against his ear. Buddy finished the tape and looked at me and said, "You have a promising career here. With all your characters, you stand to make thousands a month." I felt like a dirty whore when I looked at Buddy and said, "Where do I fucking sign?" Being the anal retentive perfectionist that I am, I ran to Staples. And I purchased a rolodex to keep track of my Johns. When Buddy called with a client, he would tell me what type of man the client was looking for and what his fantasy was. I noted their likes and dislikes. I jotted down personal details about them and kept track of our conversations. I color-coded my characters' index cards so that I knew which character I was playing at which time. If a John wanted me to whisper sweet nothings in their ear, I wrote it down. My system was airtight. Buddy would call, I would grab a card, review it, do a little vocal warm-ups, and call the client back immediately. I always open my conversation with, I'm so glad you called. It's crazy, but I was just thinking about you." Within a month, I was the most popular phone sex operator at LA Heat. "Our switch bars are lighting up, Teddy, and they're all asking for you," Buddy said. There was always a waiting list for me. And to increase my call volume, I learned how to get a client off within 15 minutes. Therefore, I was double booking. And the money kept rolling in. Lots of it. To the tune of roughly $4,000 a month. Hello. My clients were an odd lot. I mean, how could you expect otherwise? I mean, you're talking on the phone, they don't know you. But I learned a lot from them, but I learned one key thing. Men yell out the weirdest shit just before they come. I had one client who would huff and puff and moan and groan, and just before he arrived, he would sigh, "Mama." I had another client who I serviced 2 to 3 times a week who would scream out during his special moment, "Oh my God, Zach, fuck." Overall, I was very happy with the job. The hours were flexible, the money was fantastic, and besides, this was only temporary. My big break was waiting right around that corner over there. Then came Jim. Jim was a superintendent from Mississippi. He asked to speak to a young, dark-haired boy, and I gave him Zach. Jim invited Zach into his office, and I was to call him Mr. Anderson. "Zach, I see you're not doing well in school." Yeah, I said. "Well, have a seat. Is everything going well at home?" Not knowing at all where the hell this was going. My improv skills needed to kick in. "Well, kinda," I said. "My dad's an asshole?" "Well, that's not good," he said. "Are they feeding you?" Sorta," I said. "How would you like me to feed you right here, Zach, huh? What do you say?" I said, "Cool, Mr. Anderson." Jim's calls were never sexual. He just wanted to feed Zach. He would describe how he would spoon feed me, and all I had to do for 15 minutes once a week was make sounds into the phone as if I were eating. Nom. 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 Is that good, Zach? Yup, Mr. Anderson. I love it when you feed me. As time went on, Jim wanted to know if I was gaining weight. Boy, Mr. Anderson, am I ever. Never a truer statement said in my entire phone sex career, okay? Well, now, Zach, I'm going to have to put you in a cage. What? I thought, this is insane. But I continued, partly curious, mostly disgusted. I made my eating noises, and Jim kept feeding me through the bars of the cage. Eventually, Jim told me I was getting too fat for the cage, and he began to tell me that my flesh was bulging out of the bars. Jim needed to grab wire cutters to grab them to cut me out of the cage and free me. I was freaked out. Naturally, my clothes had ripped off because my body was like 7 times its original size. There I stood, naked as the day I was born, in Jim's office, and I looked fat as a cow. Jim then asked if I saw the giant roasting pan at the corner of the room. What? I yelled into the phone. In the corner of the room, Zach, do you see the roasting pan? Yeah? Get in it. What? I said. Get in the roasting pan, Zach. I did as I was told. That was my job. You see the big carrot in there, Zach? What? I asked again. Zach, do you see the big carrot in the roasting pan? Grab it and shove it up your ass. I did as I was told. Oh my God, Zach. Is the carrot up your ass? Yeah. Oh my God, Zach, I'm so turned on right now. I cannot stop thinking about you in that roasting pan, naked or oiled up with the carrot up your ass. I feel the need to touch myself, Zach. I feel the need to eat you. I want to eat you, Zach! I hung up. Mortified, I called Buddy and told him exactly what happened. And he was like, oh, well, we get Doozies here. Doozies, I said. This guy is sick, and I have formed a relationship with him over a course of a year. It was in that moment that I thought to myself, what the fuck am I doing? This is not what I set out to do. I quit LA Heat that day. And if anyone had told me when I first moved out here that I would have fallen prey to the dark side of Hollywood, I would have said, you're fucking crazy. I mean, look at me. The sex industry? Really? That was the stuff of Lifetime original movies or after school specials, not real life. But he was crushed when I left. And I have to admit that maybe a little part of me was too. I really felt appreciated and loved there. The end was inevitable, though. What with the internet and mobile apps, phone sex lines are the thing of the past. I guess you could say I was the Theta Barra of phone sex. Looking back on that little naive person in my life, I have to say that I loved him. He was so untouched, so pure, not fondled by the grimy hands of Hollywood. Ironically, a fantasy phone sex line gave me a crash course in reality. Now, when I have friends who complain about their last hemorrhoid ad audition, or the fact that they had to make an ass out of themselves during an adult diaper commercial shoot, I shoot them a look. And you know what I say? I say, hey, I ever told you about the time I was a call girl? Thank you, I'm Teddy.